Go figure. And I kind of have it down to an art now. Back in the day, we did these as Facebook Lives onto the Facebook group, and I thought, oh, that'll be great. And it was. And then in April,
take part on the Ko-fi, which I hate.
Oh, you don't like Ko-fi? Coffee? Somebody doesn't like Ko-fi. You don't have to. You don't have to do it that way.
Oh, good.
It's not your. If you're not, you can send me Venmo directly. You can send me a check. You can, if you're, however's comfortable for you. I just set that up just as an experiment to test that and see how it goes. So it seemed like there was either that or buy me a coffee, and Ko-fi seemed to be a better fit for me, I guess. So there you go. But I, like with all my students, you can pay me directly, send me a check, whatever it works for you. And I appreciate the support, because it does cost. Zoom costs me about $150 a year. And then I've got my website maintenance and some other things. And then it just takes me some time in the background that you guys don't see me doing, where I'm doing editing on the videos and doing the newsletters and stuff that I don't charge for. So
no, you need to charge. You don't have PayPal option?
I do.
Oh, well,
you can pay through PayPal through Ko-fi, or you can just send it to PayPal. PayPal's not my favorite, because you have to send it as friends and family, and even then, sometimes they recognize me as a business and they charge me 3%.
Oh, I see. That's okay. I mean, I can mail a check. My husband said on his other Zooms, usually the presenter asks for a donation at the end of the session, but I don't know how the payment is sent. But because you're short charging yourself. This is valuable, Simber.
Thank you. I think so too, and I enjoy doing it. I love hanging out with you guys, and it pushes me to learn more and share more and all that good stuff. We got more people coming in. Yay! Welcome. Welcome. We got 11 so far tonight. Yay. Gradually growing over time. So, okay. So officially starting here Tuesday, March 11th, 2025, Improvising Harpist. And my dog wants to come and say hello. Come say hi. Come on. There we go. There she is.
Aww.
This is Flower. Hi, tiny bunny.
Hi, Flower. Oh, sweet. Oh, good girl.
Yep. She just had dinner, and whenever she eats, she has to come and thank me. So that's what she's doing right now.
Aww.
She just is covering me in chicken kisses.
Aww.
Give me chicken kisses. There we go. All right, good girl.
Is she a Bashan?
No, she is a mix of Maltese and Cavalier King Charles Spaniel.
I can see that too. Yeah.
Yeah. She had, when she was younger, she had much more of the Cavalier mask.
Yeah.
But as she's gotten older, it's kind of faded and just turned white. So, all right. So tonight we are doing a continuation of last week's Tuesday night play shop. And we're doing, normally I do every other week, but because next 2 weeks are spring break, and I'm trying to really take a break the next couple of weeks. So we'll be back together in the beginning of April, and I'll send out newsletters. I hope everybody's getting the newsletter with the links and the info and thumbs up. Okay, great. Wonderful.
Actually, I am not, and it's not in junk either.
Okay.
Diane McIntyre. And you said you sent me one, but it has not appeared. So I used an old link from Sherry. Thank you, Sherry.
Send me an email or something with your email address in it, and I'll double check that when I get done tonight. Make sure you're on.
No worries. I just but you asked. So.
I haven't seen one either, Simber.
Okay, same thing. Send me an email
Okay,
and I'll you can send it to, let's make it easy, simberlilyharp@gmail.com. I have a lot of email addresses that work, but that's a good one. That's pretty
Okay.
consistent. So you can send it to me there. For those who are joining in later, I'm pretty sure that you cannot see the chat, what's going on in the chat. So I will try to remember to put what's in the chat in the notes. Probably not my address. I probably won't put my address, but I will put PayPal information and so forth. So the PayPal address also comes directly to me. So I have a lot of email addresses that all come to the same place.
I'm sorry.
Last week.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Just to clarify, you said that it's simberlilyquinn@gmail?
Simberlily Harp.
Oh, Simberlily Harp. Okay, that's what I missed. It's different.
Yeah.
Harp@gmail.com.
It's in the
in the chat.
It's in the chat.
Oh, all right.
It's in the chat there too. So
Thank you.
Yep. There's lots of ways to reach me. If you're to use Facebook Messenger, you can find me there. And an email, phone number, carry pigeon, all of that stuff works. Okay, so let me turn my original sound on. And I want to, before we get too far, I forgot to do this last week. Carolyn, I would like to invite you to talk a little bit before we get started about the Colorado Celtic Harp Society retreat that's coming up in June. Would like to give a little plug for that? Can you, yeah.
I believe it's the 27th, 28th, and 29th of June. And you do need to be a member of the Harp Society, the Colorado Celtic Harp Society, to attend the retreat, which costs about $20 a year. And there's a website which it's changed. Colorado Celtic Harp. I think it's Colorado Celtic Harp. Oh, let me check. I got it.
Sorry, I put you kind of on the spot there. I know you weren't expecting to see something that I forgot to ask you last week, and I want to make sure that people know about this. This is in at the Franciscan Retreat Center in Colorado Springs, which is absolutely beautiful. If you're there the whole weekend, you get meals and lodging there, so you can just pull up with your harp and enjoy time with your friends. And who's the speaker this year?
I've got to look that up. I'm not ready to tell you. They're Kim and
okay, all right.
Someone else. They've been at they've done a lot of work. They're great. But the emails, like if you want to join the Harp Society, you have to send an email to debrak.cchs@gmail.com. And she's the treasurer.
DEBRAK?
DEBRAK .cchs@gmail.com. And the website is Colorado Celtic Harp Society, all one word, .org.
Colorado Celtic Harp Society.org. Okay, so these are in the chat. So Deb Kalasny is Dave Kalasny's wife. Some of you may know Dave because he's the president of the Folk Harp Society and in charge of, he doesn't do the journal, but is in charge of making all that happen. And my journal just arrived this week, so maybe yours has arrived as well. So yeah, so get in touch. You can also get in touch with Carolyn. She is the editor of the newsletter. She has got all the contacts and information as well. If you're trying to find us later, or again, you can contact me and I'll put you in touch with Carolyn.
My Gmail is Lynn, LYN 7056 @gmail.com.
Carolyn Hines.
Who is speaking? Who gave us that info?
Carolyn Hines.
Oh, Carolyn. Okay. Carolyn, do you live in Fort Collins? Where you live?
I live in Centennial.
Okay. Never
I'm a
mind.
little south of Fort Collins.
Quite a bit south. Yeah. I'm looking.
Between Fort Collins and Colorado Springs.
Yeah. I'm trying to find people to play with. Just checking. Thank you. I won't interrupt anymore.
You're in Fort Collins?
Yes.
Oh, we've got
Do
several
you
people
know
in Fort
Susan?
Collins.
What?
Do you know Susan Zievenbergen?
I contacted her and I was looking for harp circles. I did find Sherry, yay. So we're doing great, but I would love a harp circle, but she said she wasn't doing them right now.
Okay.
What's
Get in
her?
touch with Carolyn because she's got the list, and there are
I
some
can
people.
tell you who's in.
Yeah, that's okay. I'll join the society. I'm always tied up that week. I have a reunion I go to every year, but I'd love to go. I'd love to go, but I do go to Somerset every year.
Glenda, doesn't Glenda live in Fort Collins? Glenda Grimmer. She'd love to play the harp with you, I bet.
I thought, oh, did she move up from Longmont?
No, she is in Longmont, but that's close, right?
That's closer. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I have Sherry, so for now, I'm good.
Okay, good. Glenda used to be on the board, and
okay.
I used to be on the board as well. So, yeah. Okay, good. So I'll be there this summer as well. I'm planning on going to the Harp retreat, so if you're going to be there, I'll see you in person. And yeah, all right. So let's go. Thank you, Carolyn, for that. Appreciate you sharing that. And as time goes on, you're welcome to share more information with the group and therefore with the recording and people who are listening to that down the road. I'm going to go ahead and mute you. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm probably going to ask people to unmute themselves again in just a second, but I wanted to hear, we were going to do some practice and share tonight around the modes. So what I wanted to do was ask, first of all, if anybody has spent a little time this week working on the modes, if you have a favorite mode that you've discovered. And you can just pop that in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and share. Oh, everybody's suddenly gotten shy. Okay, well, nobody has a favorite mode, so that's all right. I would like to have us practice a couple of different ones. I'm going to stick with some of the more common ones that get used a lot, and then from there you can explore into the less common modes. I'm going to start, but I'm not going to start with Ionian because that's really, in terms of music, that's the most common. That's the C scale. Excuse me. Let me call up that. Now that I've done that. Oh, hang on. Let me call up my document that I had up last week to refresh our memory about this. Modes in the harp, and on the harp in the key of C. I'm going to share my screen again with you. You like D minor? Oh, good. Oh, good. Haven't had time this week, but I like the Aeolian. Oh, good. All right. Well, those are two of the modes that I'm going to be working on this week. So let's do that. Let me share my screen with you. I'll make this bigger so it's easier to see. All right. So we're going to do like we've got about a half an hour here left in the session tonight. So I want to start purposefully with the Dorian mode. This is this one here. It's the mode that starts and ends in the key of C. It's very important. It's in the key of C, starts and ends on D. D does not mean Dorian. If you're in the key of G, Dorian starts on the second note of the G scale, which is A. Don't get D and Dorian too linked up in your head. Do, 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 do. One moment, somebody send me a note. Okay, all right. So let's just review what that is. So in the key of C, we've got this Dorian mode that starts and ends on D. And I forgot who asked me to write some notes. It might have been Mary asked me to write some notes about some specific things about this scale. So I will do that in the next couple of weeks. But one thing I want to mention that I think I mentioned last week is that it's this B natural on the sixth note that really makes this Dorian mode. If this were a B flat, it would be the Aeolian mode. It would be with a B flat in there. You're now in the key of F, and that D minor is the sixth note of an F scale. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, just let it go. It's not important. I like to start with the Dorian mode when I'm playing for sound baths, or sometimes even if I'm playing at conferences, my job is to play introductory music or soothing music or something where the intention is to bring the energy down rather than lifting it up. Like if everybody's coming in the morning and they're grabbing a coffee and a donut and they're over caffeinated and over sugared and they're la 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 la, and the presenter is trying to get everybody to calm down so they can listen, Dorian mode is perfect for that. So I like starting there. It's also, anecdotally, I will say, really good for brain trauma. So if you're working with a brain trauma person, this comes from a friend who used to work in the Laramie Hospital in Wyoming. She played Dorian mode a lot in the brain trauma unit in the lobby, and then the doctor started asking her what she was doing because their patients were doing a whole lot better whenever she was there. And she was playing a lot of Dorian mode when she was doing that. Okay. So can I do this with a dog in my lap? I'm not sure. Okay, thank you. Goodbye. Now now I'm going to talk about patterns for a second, and then we're going to all take some time to play around with this and then play for each other a little bit. So in my left hand, my go-to is a 1-5-8. Sometimes I do it backwards. Sometimes I do it so that it's 1-8-5. But the 1 is a D on the bottom. The 5 is the fifth note from the D, which is an A. And then the 8 on the top, the D. So probably the most important thing you can do when you're improvising is to listen. It's the other side of playing. So many people say, I just want to sit down and play. And I would say the first thing you want to do is sit down and listen and then play. So I hope everybody's got this. We're going to play a D minor C chord progression. That's all you need to know right now. But I want you to be able to see. I'll come back to this. So first thing I'm doing here is just playing this 1-5-8. One and two, three, 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2. So this is a eighth quarter pattern or eighth half. 1 and 2, 3, 1, 3, 1. Or it could be, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3. So if part of what I want you guys to do is to play around with some different hand patterns and find the one that you kind of naturally gravitate to. And don't be afraid if that's the same thing you play over and over and over again. I really love the way Christina Turin teaches the harp, which is to play it until you're bored with it. And then you will naturally want to go on to something else rather than forcing yourself into the next thing. So I play this a lot. So, okay, I'm starting to get bored with it. So I'm going to do it the other direction. Still the same 3 notes, but it's got a different texture to it. And I right now recommend you do things in groups of 4 and 8. 1, 2. So that's a group of 4. So I could do 4 of these. 3, 4. Then go the other way. And now I'm doing this. I'm just playing with the same 3 notes in a different order. So I'm doing the octave. 1, 8, 5. But as I'm listening to this, my ear's wanting to hear another note in there. So now I'm putting in the 3rd note, the F. Now, why did I do that? I did F, E, D, because my ear wanted that. Okay, so now my ear is doing, at the end of the 4th grouping, we can call them measures, but it's not written out. So the 4th grouping, there wants to be a little fancier thing happening that's going to introduce as a turnaround to go back to the beginning. In drum land, that's called a fill. So we've got a little musical fill going on here. So I've got that's 1, 2, 3, and then that's in the 4th grouping. So the 4th is different from the other 3. I haven't even got around to the right hand yet. I'm having so much fun doing this. Okay, so what am I doing now? So I'm still doing this 1, 8, 5, and then I'm adding in like a roving finger, a roving thumb. So I'm doing 1, 8, 5, 4, 1, 8, 5, 3, 1, 8, 5, 2, 1, 2, 3. So for this to be in the Dorian mode, we want to start and end on D. I haven't gotten around to the B yet, which is kind of the important part of the Dorian mode. So let's see if I can work that in. So I'm using the same pattern, but instead of going down, I'm going up. Oops. Let's try that again. Oops. Oh, ooh, that was cool. And a total accident, throwing it, actually accidentally reached up here to this E. Aha! No, I want to do that D again. So I want to talk target notes for a second, and then I wanted us to play for a little bit, and then play for each other a little bit. So I'm doing this in 3/4 time. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. As I'm finishing each group of 4, I'm aiming my last note to be the D. Doesn't have to be that, but when I'm thinking about target notes, I'm thinking about chord tones, which would be the D, F, A, D. So if I'm doing chord target notes, these are all target notes, all landing on pretty regular beats. So when you're improvising, if you want it to, you're struggling a little bit to make it sound good, you can aim for target notes on regular beats. So chord tones landing on regular beats will help it have some structure. Yeah. So I'm starting here with this low D on beat 1. 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2, 3, 1 and 2 and 3, 1 and 2. Oops, 1 and 3. So far, so good? Okay. All right, so I'm just going to play for a little bit doing this, just this left hand pattern. Lots of different variations of this left hand pattern. You play along with me. Just use me as background inspiration or ignore me completely and play your own thing. But then let's just for maybe 2 or 3 or 4 minutes. And then I'm going to have you guys play something that's your own creation. So here we go. So 1, 2, 3. Two. 3, 1 and 2, 1, 2, 3, 1. Two, three. Three, 1. 2, 3. 2, 3. 2, 3. Okay. Two new messages down here. Ooh. Okay. All right. Lots of great music going on out there. I can see it. I can see it happening. All right, come on back. Got some very intent improvising going on out there. I love it. I love seeing that going on out there. I kind of don't want to stop you. I'm like, well, keep going. Keep going. All right. Who would like to share a little bit of what they discovered? I would love for you to share a little bit of what you've discovered.
I'll give it a try. It's Rose.
Okay, Rose, let's hear it.
Now I'm going to give it a try because I know the last time I set my original sound. So let's see how it goes. Okay. Let me know right off the bat. I'm sure you will.
Can you spotlight her?
Oh, am I supposed to do something?
I can spotlight.
Yeah.
Spotlight you. There
Okay.
you go.
Am I okay?
Yep.
Okay, good. Okay.
Yay! Nice. I have a friend who runs a jazz improv, and she has a button that she pushes that gives like a cheering audience. I got to figure out how to do that. That's awesome. Thank you for sharing that.
I was muting somebody at the very end, and I muted you by mistake, Rose.
I was wondering.
I couldn't hear you.
I was wondering.
And then I couldn't unmute you.
Oh, could you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you
okay,
just
great.
fine.
All right.
Yeah, it was just at the very end. I heard somebody else.
I know, Mary. I know you really didn't think it was that good, so you just turned it off.
Did you have your
No
original
way,
sound
Rose.
on?
I
No
did.
way. It sounded good.
I'm hearing a
Yeah,
lot
we
of.
could hear you just fine.
Okay, great. I'm hearing a lot of feedback in the background. It's like delayed, but I don't know what that is, if anybody else hears it. But it's okay. Good. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, you're welcome. So one of the things I should have, I haven't ever said this, but one of the things that minimizes feedback is if you're wearing earbuds.
Nope. Oh, okay. No.
So this is for everybody. That if you're because then your microphone is not picking up everybody else's sound. If you're listening and speaking on external microphone, then my voice is coming out may be picked up by your microphone, but if you're wearing earbuds, it's not happening. So,
Your beginning tips on how to do this was so helpful to me because I watched for the beginning parts of like the strings of where my fingers were, but I told you I'm legally blind, and so then after that, I just was not looking at the strings, and it really, really helps because I'm using my ears more, and it's really great because then I'm anticipating kind of like, oh yeah, I think that sound is going to come from this string, and it's like, yay, it did.
mm-hmm. Yeah, I highly encourage everyone to listen and to play some with your eyes closed. This came to me from a student from years ago when I was living in Hawaii who had, thank you, she was born cross-eyed, but she wasn't diagnosed until she was about 4 or 5 years old. So for the first 4 or 5 years of her life, everything looked double and kind of cross, and so she learned not to trust her eyes very much, and she discovered the world through her ears. But she didn't tell me that because it wasn't relevant. She had surgery when she was 5. She thought it wasn't relevant. And as we were working together, she just struggled to make the strings make sense. And I said, well, then she told me the story about being cross-eyed as a kid and listening to the world more than looking at the world. And I said, why don't you just close your eyes and play? And it just transformed her world, transformed her playing. So give that a try. Everyone, give it a try. Trust your ears because you all have wonderful ears. Okay, somebody else who would like to play.
go.
Okay.
I was working mainly on the bass. Here, okay. See, that's not what I was doing. Okay, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm loving that. I'm loving that. That's got such rich tones to it. It's so, yeah, moving and grounding and soothing and all that good stuff. And I just want to remind everybody that how your harp sounds to you, sitting behind it, is very different from how it sounds to somebody sitting on the other side of the harp. If you ever get an opportunity to have someone play your harp for you, that is transformative experience. When I've have someone play this harp for me, I'll bring myself back out here. That sitting on that side of the harp is a completely different experience than sitting over here.
Ah.
It's this, yeah, it sounds completely different to me. And so the first time I had somebody play this harp for me, I think it might have been Lisa Lynn. She and her husband came over to Hawaii and she brought my harp, and I thought, oh, that's what that sounds like? Are you kidding me? Oh, no wonder everybody goes gaga over this harp, because that's what it sounds like sitting over there. Oh my gosh, amazing. So highly recommend it. So what I'm enjoying about what you just played, Diane, is how beautiful it sounds even coming through Zoom, and how all the notes are just weaving together in this beautiful, just elegant, delicious, mwah. Chef's kiss. Mwah. Wonderful. Yeah, beautiful. All right. Anybody else would like to take a turn? I won't make you. I won't call on you, but if you want to volunteer, you don't have to if you don't want to. So I do recommend recording yourself. And then when you do record yourself, wait a day before you listen to it. Wait a day or two before you go back and listen to it. And okay. All right, so there was something else I wanted to say. Oh, at the very end, what I was playing, I kind of went off into the weeds right at the very end, because that's what my ear wanted to do. But I wanted to talk about when I did that and why I did that and how I came back from that. So Deborah Henson Conant, you guys probably know of her. Maybe some of you have taken classes with her. She talks about improvisation as being starting at home, going away from home, and then coming back to home. And that if you go away from home and never come back, your listeners are going to get lost, because you're not coming back home. You're off on some adventure that maybe they're not following you on. So I'm going to encourage you to do the same practice for now. This is not forever. You may decide you want to go off on an adventure and that's it, you're gone. But if you start to go off into the weeds, don't get scared. Don't like, oh, what's going on, but also be prepared to come back home. So for me, with this thing that I was doing here, this was home. this thing that I was playing around with at the beginning. This is home. So if I get lost, and I do this in concerts, by the way, I do have in mind a home base to come back to in case I get off too far in the weeds. So what I was doing, this kind of thing, and then I did a little, but I'm still doing this as the fundamental structure. But then towards the end, I went off into this is nothing to do with this. But I wanted it. I wanted something different. I was starting to get bored. So I wanted to do something different. So I'm still in that 3/4 time. And I'm hitting a target note here. This is the A of the D minor chord, right? But here, oh, lots of passing tones. Oh, I like that. That was an accident. So I'm playing around a little bit and then I come back home. And then I play a little bit more and then I come back home. And I play and then I come back home.
But what were you doing with your right hand, Simber? What were you
Nothing.
doing? Oh, okay. Okay.
Nothing. This right hand's just hanging onto the harp right here. But I'll play it backwards so you can see. So I'm doing. So I'm now playing with notes outside of the 8-note scale. I'm up here. It's a little awkward for me. It's a little low for this hand. So it's a little hard because to reach down there with that hand, but that's what I'm doing is playing up here the upper octave and then coming back to this home pattern that I've created. Now this is why I want you to record yourselves, because you may come up with something amazing and then you're like, oh crap, what did I just do? I can't remember, but you've got it recorded so you can go back and figure it out. I didn't do anything with my right hand, give some suggestions. Okay, let's do that. So I hadn't been doing right hand because I got so involved in enjoying my left hand, and sometimes that happens. All right. Okay. So I am going to say that the fancier, more complex the left hand is, the simpler the right hand should be, and vice versa. The simpler left hand allows the space for a more complicated right hand. Now, if you're Bach, you can do complex in both hands, but I find that the harp, particularly, if it gets too notey, it just gets muddy because of the way the notes ring. So I tend to keep the left hand simpler and the right hand busier, or vice versa. All right, so going back to home base here. So I'm doing thirds in the right hand, in the same pattern as the left hand. So I'm doing, let's see if I can do it and talk at the same time. I can't think words and play and talk all at the same time. Hang. And I'm not deliberately choosing any notes in the right hand. I'm mostly focused on what's happening in the left hand and letting the right hand move around. And that's the way I learned that from Christina Turin, the way she teaches improvisation, to let the right hand meander and let the left hand be the where you've got your attention and keeping it solid in the left hand. Can't talk and do this at the same time. That takes a little more work because I'm doing a pattern that I don't normally do in my left hand. My normal left hand is so doing. Now, where do all these patterns come from? Deborah Frius, a speed agility book. My favorite exercise book. Although there are lots, don't go buy it if you've already got exercise books. Use your exercise books that you've got, because there are a lot of the same exercises are in there. And this is why you play all those different exercises, is so that you have all those patterns in your fingers just ready to go. Triplets, thirds, fifths, fourths, arpeggios, all that stuff, so that it's just right there available to you. It's your pantry. It's building your pantry of improv. All those, I think of those patterns as like staples in your pantry. It's your flour, your sugar, your butter, your milk for your French cooking. And then there are things that I think of as spices that are like dynamics and articulation, and this is what I'm working on in my cookbook, is having lists of those things so that you have them available to you as well. Yeah.
Any suggestions as to how much do you vary your left hand pattern when you're going through chord progression in your improv? Is it like if you're going from this D to like the C, do you do the same left hand thing, or do you vary it? Is that just a personal thing all the time?
It's a personal thing all the time. But I would recommend, when you start, as you're starting down this path, is to pick just a couple of patterns and use them a lot, rather than trying to use everything at once. So make sourdough bread. Don't make every kind of bread. Just make one type of pasta. Don't make every type of pasta. Eventually you can make all kinds of pasta, but don't try to make them all at once, because it's just confusing, and you won't have facility with all of them all at once. So have facility with, familiarity with a few of them, that are really useful, and then add fancier ones and variations of that as you go along. Start simple, keep it simple. The beauty, I haven't said this in a while, but I should have a t-shirt that says this. The harps will work very hard for us if we let them. When you play a note, especially the low notes, all these other strings are ringing. You don't have to play them. They're ringing. It's happening. But you got to let it happen and not overplay it. Not over, the harps work very hard for us if we let them, with all those overtones in a way that other instruments just don't or can't. The harp can. Yeah. Cool. Other questions? Thanks for all your questions. I really appreciate it. We did one mode tonight. I had plans to do several. This is always what happens. I plan too much and then we don't have, I should just come and do a workshop and we'll spend all day together.
Like you said, keep it simple.
Right? It's always what happens to me. I'm like, oh, well, I got to do this and this and this and this. And this. No, we're just going to end up taking the one thing and expanding it into all this, all this different stuff. Yeah. So, yeah, cool. So I just keep encouraging you to play your harp, not work your harp. Play your harp. Play. I give you permission. Where's my magic wand? Boop. To play and to. I'll finish off the night by talking about the other harp teacher who works here at the school. She's lovely, lovely woman. She got her bachelor's and maybe master's in harp from Indiana University. Big harp school. Big harp school. I went to Indiana University, but I was too chicken to go to music school. I went to journalism school next door, but I heard them practicing all the time. And so she came to one of my workshops that I did for the kids a month or so ago, where I had them playing this pentatonic scale, which I love because there's no mistakes. Everything sounds good and you can play them all together. And I had the kids playing 5 harps all together, all playing this pentatonic, and it was just filling the room with this beautiful thing. And she was there observing all of this, and she walked out of there and she said, no one ever taught me to do that in music school. They taught her to read notes and to play what was written and to play it really accurately and really well. And she can certainly play stuff I will never be able to play. But she was terrified of improvisation. And the reason that she's terrified is because no one gave her permission to just play. Like the room to not be perfect, the room to not be pressured, the room to just say, what can this instrument do? And so she and I are starting to play some things together, and I'm really excited about that because she knows a lot of technical stuff that I don't know. And I have this magic wand that I'm in the process of giving her. Any one of them. Sometimes it looks like this, sometimes it looks like this, but it's all the magic wand. To give permission in the way that you're trained as a classical violinist, yeah. But if you've ever taught little kids, which I did for a long time, they don't know that stuff, so they just play. They just make stuff up. Okay, there's a point where they're banging on the piano or banging on the harp, and that's not what I'm talking about. But the ones who are really like, trying to pick something out, trying to find something to play around and making some, that's where I want us all to be, in that childlike space, where we can say, it doesn't need to be perfect. In fact, that word doesn't even apply to what we're doing here. And then the other piece of it, because we're all adults here, is that when you can do that, when you can allow yourself that place of play, that place of exploration, of experimentation and all of that, and you start to understand the harp from that point of view, then when you go back and play stuff that's written, you can understand the composer much better. And reading gets easier. And playing written music gets easier because you understand the underlying structure It's not just a bunch of notes, but there's a C chord that's the melody is formed around, and then an F chord that the melody is formed around, and then a G chord that the melody is formed around. That is invisible if you don't understand the underlying structure. But if you do, it's like seeing, like, I think reading music is kind of like looking at somebody's skin and hair and all of that, which is great. But if you understand the skeleton and the muscular structure underneath it, then their skin and hair just makes much more sense. And who they are makes much more sense. So that's kind of why I do what I do. Once I would put it this way, once Susan Zievenbergen, who I mentioned earlier, teacher, she was my first harp teacher way back in the day. And she was the one who really opened the doors for me in terms of understanding circle of fifths, chord structure, modes, all this underlying skeleton muscular structure stuff. And once that happened for me, everything, I like, in about a 2-week period, it all made sense. Like, oh, this is how music is structured. This is how Bach, Beethoven, Mozart, all these guys, this is, I get it now, and I can see it, the underlying structure. For the most part, there still look like some composers that confuse me, but those are my challenges, to figure out what's going on underneath all of that. And then how do I put that on the harp? And then I let all that go and just say, today I just feel like playing. So that is what I'm hoping to, it's not even teach, it's just to, the word, I just had the word, to encourage or enable, maybe, I don't know, that you
Impart.
find that in yourself. And yeah.
Setting up free.
That's my goal. Sprout wings and go. You can't hurt yourself. You can't
Simber,
hurt yourself.
I have a question for you, Simber. This is kind of off. Do you ever incorporate or even loop other like kind of sound bath instruments, like a tongue drum or the singing bowls or chimes or anything like that, and then play your harp with that? Do you ever do that?
I do. You can't, that we could do a whole class on that. Different. So I use GarageBand for recording, again, because it's very simple. And GarageBand comes with a lot of different instruments that you can loop and then play over those instruments. I will say, I have tried several times to play with singing bowls live, and it hasn't worked because the bowls are so much louder than the harp. So what we have done when I have a friend who sometimes we play concerts together. I usually open and play by myself, and then she plays for a while. And so because she likes to get really loud, and then at the end she'll bring it in, and we'll join together at the end. But also the bowls are never in tune, and so it's always, it's a challenge to play, even to get the harp. I mean, we even went to the point of measuring her bowls to see if they were actually tuned at and trying to tune the harp to match it, which can be done, but it's kind of time consuming and it doesn't always last because the harp wants to return back to whatever it's in tune to. But then I do have, this is something else you can do, is go out on YouTube, because this is free, and find drones. Just search the word drone and see. And you will find drones that drone on the note C. And you can just let that run and play over it. You can also drone over a D minor if you want to do a D minor. Drone over that. And then there are chord progressions as well. You could do a CFG chord progression. You'll find CFG chord progressions out there. And some of them are very new agey sounding. Some of them sound like the blues. Some of them sound like rock and roll. There's lots of different things. There's a lot of different backing tracks out there that you can play around with. It's free. You just run it.
iReal Pro is free too.
What's that?
iReal Pro.
iReal Pro, the initial app costs some money, but then after that it's free. That's true.
And you can set up your own chord progressions and such and rhythms.
Yep, that is true. That's another class too. We'll do an iReal Pro class. Yeah. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. This gave me a
Oh,
lot
you
of
can
great.
tune.
Yeah,
Tune singing
this
bowls
gave
by
me a-
adding water.
Yeah. Oh, what? Oh,
Mary says you can tune singing bowls by adding water. That is brilliant.
oh my gosh. Oh, that's so cool, Mary. You can tune tongue drums by putting a magnet inside and sliding it up and down the tongue. I don't know if you've ever heard of that. But anyway,
Oh, that's very cool.
this has given me great ideas for working with some blind children. I love it. Playing along with the soundscapes or whatever.
Oh,
Thanks.
yep. You can record that and then play along with that. There you go. All kinds of cool stuff we can do. All right, we've gone way, way over tonight, but thank you for hanging with me. I appreciate you being here. And thank you. So our next time we'll be together will be on April 1st, no fooling. And if you have suggestions, comments for next topics, I haven't picked anything for April 1st yet, but I am always open to answering questions. And
Just do another mode.
we could do another mode. All
Yeah.
right.
Because you didn't get to do the other things you were going to do. So let's do those.
That could take us through the rest of the year.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much.
Yay,
Have a great evening.
That would be okay. Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye. Bye, everybody.
Welcome. See you later.